when we talk about what's going on in this country, this election, of course, issue number 1A, the economy and inflation, right? We see this with every single poll. Want to present two tales for you as we start off the show. President Biden, here he was today as there was a new inflation print, which basically showed that inflation is still here and sticky. The president, quote, core inflation has fallen to 2.4% over the last 3 months, the lowest level in over 2 years. But despite the drop, I know families are feeling last month's increase in gas prices. And here was the president's chief economic advisor just a little while ago.
Turning to Bidenomics, we start from a position of strength. The U.S. economy is in solid shape. We must build on the progress we've made.
Economy in solid shape, build on the progress we've made. Now this, the Washington Post. Adults are ordering from kids' menus to save money. Should they? Cites an analyst, quote, consumers are changing their behaviors, frequency of visits is down, and they're moderating what they do when they go out. Is that Bidenomics, folks? Johanna?
Well, Blake, you and I were talking about having kids, and we go all around the world, and it seems like we eat the finest chicken tenders around. So I'm not surprised people are ordering off the kids' menu. People are hurting. That's the truth. In this country, they're hurting. The White House is comparing them globally to the numbers, and the U.S. is doing better globally. Inflation is a global issue that we're all dealing with. I don't think that's going to matter, but the alternative to Biden is what matters. And if the Republicans give a solid alternative to Biden, then there's a hope. But if it's Trump, I'm not so sure.
I don't pay a lot of attention to the thing about ordering the kids' meals because I'm old enough to do that because the portions are smaller.
Right. That's clearly part of it, but the other is saving the money, too.
But what you just saw was one of the things
good.
I hated when I was at OMB, I hated when I was in the White House, was this focus on core inflation. It makes complete sense to economists, complete sense to geeks like myself, and it's a complete disconnect with ordinary Americans. What it is essentially inflation without energy and food, as if people don't buy energy and food. And every time people back home say, well, they say that Washington says things are good because core inflation is down, they're going, but it's still very expensive for me to buy what I buy. It just reinforces that disconnect between Washington and ordinary
In a good place, Jared Bernstein says.
Yeah, when you're filling up your car at the gas tank, right, you're not thinking about core inflation. You're thinking about what the number is. And the truth is there's a lot of families that are making trade-off decisions. Do they go into the grocery store and get a full cart of groceries, or do they fill that gas tank up? I mean, those are real trade-off decisions that they're making. You know, what I think I'll be really interested in this, Mick, for 24, because in 22, as Republicans, we were so confident on the economic message that we thought that was going to bring the big red wave, and it didn't happen. And so as gas prices start to increase, and you said at the beginning, so much of this is about the economy, but will it be? I don't know. It didn't take us on that big red wave that we thought it would.
You're talking about because of abortion and what ended up happening at the ballot.
Well, and Trump and age and everything. Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. Right now, the one thing that Republicans should be talking about in unison is the economy. But what are we really talking about this week? We're talking about impeaching Joe Biden. That's not going to help them win in 2024. I don't understand why, when they have the economics in their favor, when the president clearly has a vocabulary problem with talking about the economy, because no voter knows what core inflation is and no voter cares. That's not going to make them feel better about paying more for groceries.
That's why I don't understand why
prices.
they go up with their, look, they're trying to name it Bidenomics and put a name to it and a theme to it. And they're, I don't understand, Mick, why they go up there with the charts and they explain and they try to talk about real wages and this and that. At the end of the day, when you see headlines like that, adults are ordering from the kids' menus to save money. Right? Like, that's the real world out there right now.
Yeah, I think they're learning a lesson from one of the mistakes we made in 2018. Okay, we wanted to talk about health care, but we didn't know how to talk about health care, so we didn't talk about health care, and we got waxed in the midterms. I think the Democrats are looking at it now and said, look, we're going to have to talk about the economy, because if we ignore it, it's going to crush us. So they're doing the only thing they can, which is to try and put as good a spin on it as possible.
I'll tell you, the word Bidenomics still will be about as helpful to Democrats in 24 as the word Obamacare was to the White House in 2010.
I mean, we'll say you don't know what the economy is going to be in 2024. Mick doesn't know. I don't know. No one knows. The White House doesn't know. But
I still believe, though, at the end of the day, it's going to be about the economy, stupid. It just is.
Right,
yes, abortion, that might have been an outlier, but it's always safe to assume the economy is
I don't know that it's an outlier. I think Trump is such a negative factor for the Republicans that until they cut themselves from that, it's going to be tough.
All right. Well, meantime.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.